Hello everyone, I am here with a tutorial for the dog adoption center. So you're going to find your materials down in the bottom right, and then we're going to get started on the build. So before we get started, I did end up making a grid, and this is what it looks like. There is a double purple on the left, and that is a placeholder for our doorway. And then on the right, there is 2 double space to 2 pink, and that's where the bone is going to be. Feel free to pause if you need. And then after this point, we're going to move on to our left corner, and we're going to make that 8 tall with our strip spruce. I'm going to replicate making 8 spruce on the other side, and this is where the indent 1 block is. After those 2 pillars are complete, we're going to move on to our other section, and these are all going to be 4 tall, and this is where the window is. We make our way to the other side of the build, and we complete those 4 different pillars that are 4 tall. In the back, we're going to add the last 2 pillars, which are going to be 8 tall, and they're going to mirror the original ones on purple wool. This completes the main outline, and then we start making our way towards the front of the build, and this is when we start closing things off. I start to add 1 block at the top of our entryway, and then another one 2 blocks above for the entrance of the doorway. After that, I move on to the right side, and I move 1 block up, and then I finish the top of that. And then it was time to move on to the side of the build, and this is just where I connect the pillars so it goes all the way across. Now it's time to start really connecting the rest of the structure, so we're going to make our way up to the window area, fill that in, and also the side. At this point, it is kind of hard to see, but I do start filling in that bottom section in the back, and then I also start to realize that I'm going to fill in that bottom section of the 8 pillars and then put that top, if that makes sense. It'll show you a bit later, and then we're going to connect that top and then also connect this other top. And now that it's a bit clearer, you can see where I place those 2 spruce in the back area. Time to mirror the back section of our right build and also add a pillar in the left side connecting that taller build. So right here, we kind of connect this to this, so it just looks exactly the same. We start moving on to this left section, and this is the entryway that I was talking about earlier, and then we're gonna put spruce as the walls and then also leave some area for the windows. I left a carved out section too tall, so it's 2 by 2 in that section, so that's where we're gonna walk in and out, and then I also put a tiny little window on each side. Then as we build towards the top, I do keep it pretty flat by just kind of stacking all the strip spruce and then leaving 2 open sections up top for the windows. This is the side that the little cover will be on, so that's also why it looked kind of flat, but it will be filled up in the middle by then. After finishing up the side, that's when I make my way to the front and start working on the roof. And this is where I use cherry blossom stairs, and I go each way upside down and regular to create this basic roof shape. And in the middle of the roof, I did use a block, so that's why the top looks a bit flatter. And then I started connecting everything and mirrored what I did in the front and the back, and then we started filling in that roof. There's a style choice that you could do, and that is switch in the outline of the roof with spruce and fill it in with pink if you wanted a different effect. Then it was time to start working on our other roof, and this one you pretty much fill in and you go 1 outwards and start doing those upside down stairs until you pretty much meet right in the middle. Also, the roof does go 1 down in the little corner, and it just connects to the other side of the build. Once your roof starts to match what this one looks like, you can start to fill it in, and again just replicate the same thing on the back. Left part is going to feel a little bit weird once you start to fill it in because you still have that beam and it's also in the middle of your build, but we will deal with that later. But you just continue to go through just like you would on the other side of the roof. Once your roof is all the way complete, you're going to go back to the front and fill in those 2 gaps with your strip spruce. I did want to add a little bit of lighting so you guys could see better, so I just pretty much hung lanterns up on the top side, and then I started working on our flower baskets, which I use moss, and then also the cherry blossom trapdoors. I also am just going to add the door right now, and then I'm going to make my way over to work on the bone. This part is a bit hard to explain, but I start off with 2 at the bottom, and then I do 2 right, up, and then I kind of start going in the shape of the bone. So I'm going to let you guys kind of watch and then count out for you. So here's 1, 2, and then we're going to make our way up, and then this is when we kind of go in a diagonal shape. So there's going to be 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And then we're going to go to the bottom and we're going to go up 1 and then up another 1, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. And then we're also going to start working on the top of the bone, and then this is going to sit on the top of the roof. So that's 3 wide, and then we're gonna go up another angle. Start out with 1, 2, 3 at the bottom, and it's gonna rest on the roof. And then I started with the top, and then that's gonna be connected by 1, 2, 3, and this is what we end up with for the outline. I start by filling the bone in with the pale oak, and this is a strip version because I'm gonna actually use the planks to add texture when I'm all done. Once the bone is completely full, this is when I start replacing with the planks like I was talking about before, and I just feel like this adds so much more dimension, but you can also keep it flat or just do planks instead of stripped oak as well. And now it's time to start working on the left side of the build. So I did 1 fence, 2 gates, 1 fence, and then I copied it all the way down, and then I connected it on the other side. Then I made the fence too tall, and then I used the pale oak stairs to kind of surround that on top. After that was all outlined, I started filling that in with the cherry blocks. To start finishing off the roof, then I used the cherry blossom slabs and just put those all over the top and connected to the other side of the build.
Now you can add flowers to the front. Love you, bye.
And to start finishing it all off, I started using the black stained glass, and I filled in the panes in all the sections. So I just kind of went around and showed you guys how that would look. After all the glass is done, that's when I make my way inside and I start doing a checkerboard floor, and I do the strip pale oak, and then I also do the cherry blossom planks. This is what the side of the house looks like that I was talking about earlier with the roof. So we're gonna add a spruce at the bottom of that and basically mirror the windows like it was on the other side. And then we're gonna make our way back into the middle of the build and then add our lighting. I added chain so I can make it in a pattern so it kind of look like a mini chandelier. Right by the door, I start copying the pattern with plank stairs and kind of matching that for our risen area, and then I also copy the checkerboard pattern up top. Then with the black stained glass, we're gonna outline that so it kind of looks like a little cage for the animals to sit in. Next, in the entryway hallway, there's kind of this weird gap, so I decided to put cherry blossom planks, and this is gonna be like an area that the dogs can crawl up to. I also ended up putting glowberries up there and spore blossom just to decorate up there, and then these cherry blossom areas are also for ledges. I made this cozy little sitting area out of carpet and then white stained glass to kind of give that separated feel. And then I used pots as like little water and food containers, and then I gave an area to wash your hands. I wanted the shelter to feel like you just come in and kind of like adopt your little dogs and they're sitting around and it's all cozy and clean. I also know that there's different wolf variants, so that'll kind of be fun to like separate them all into their own little areas. And now I'm just going around finishing up the build, so I added some bamboo, tulips, and some hay bales. I also put some more pots for food and water so the dogs can hang out outside. This is the final build that we're left with, and then I also decided to give you guys a front POV walkthrough to one that I made in a cherry blossom biome. This one is also decorated slightly differently because this is the one I made for TikTok. But yeah, I hope you guys liked the video, and I will see you guys in my next one. And I hope you enjoyed the tutorials. I'm trying to get better at them.